Hey you guys, it's MJ from Love. I'm Love's founder. Love is a spiritual and lifestyle brand dedicated to spirituality, sustainability, and freedom. Freedom for everyone on the planet, and sustainability as far as how we operate here. So, spirituality is ultimately just connecting the two. It's like when we truly connect to the source of self, we tend to want to behave in right action, and so we don't perpetuate the effect of separation and duality and division. Because I think I did a share about minimalism a couple days ago, and in that share it was like it sort of went off on that tangent of hooking on to causes, grouping together to promote a cause or raise awareness to a cause. And then I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of do the same thing in zero waste and vegan love. But then I guess what my mind was wrapping around just then was like, sure, when we truly live in right action. Hey, Jessica, just really simple. It's like if as a humanity we lived in right action, i.e. in harmony with self, other, and the planet, then we wouldn't need all of these causes. We wouldn't have a vegan movement because we wouldn't be mass rearing and slaughtering cattle or any other creature. Um, we wouldn't have zero waste issue if we weren't being driven by a bottom line to perpetuate a false economy. So we wouldn't have charity if some cultures weren't going around enslaving and dominating. So all of these sad images we see are kind of establishments. They're strongholds in keeping us under the veil of the illusion, right? um which is a big piece, continues to come in strong for me. It's the false economy and how any number of human being could stop themselves from being any number of things because of money. I can't do it because of money. I can't do it, what have you. I've been there. um and yet increasingly the life force is really showing me that you don't need it, in as far as truly being who you are and healing. And good morning, prisoner, how are you someday? um so yeah, that's just like a little tangent of, again, if we weren't living in a false economy, a corrupted economy of control and domination, then we wouldn't have any causes, we wouldn't have any. um that's not true, because we would still want to live and expand and create. Create is enough of a cause, I'd say. As in, being a creator, there's enough responsibility and noodle worthy activity to not have to be. Because here's where my mind went when I was thinking about the dissolving of cause, or you could say the dissolving of criminality, the dissolving of charity. What's that? I was like, most of us in our working lives are perpetuating the cause. So when we go to jobs that we hate, so often is the case that those jobs are buying products that are connected to slave labor in a different country. Or um but you know what I mean. Basically, like, our lives and the lives that we live are entangled into the causes that we're like, oh shit, look at all that destruction. Damn it. I should probably promote that. I should tell people about it. And yet we, in the way that we live our lives, are often totally like intertwined in it. It's like any of us really talking about like the system, and yet we're plugged into electrics, we're using the internet. I'm not being hard on myself about that. I'm just saying, like, there's still a lot of movement out of being, you could say, entangled with the workings of that which we call the system. Again, I'm coming more and more into a space of neutrality when it comes to all of this stuff, as far as like it can become quite selfish because you're just wanting to like live your life. Isn't that sound so bizarre? You say these things and you're like, what is that? But yeah, you're just free. You're just free to live your life and you can be in joy and you can know that these people are for you. Those people maybe are not for you. Or like that food is for you. That food maybe is not for you. And like, um, OMG, I was just talking, OMB, by the way. I was just talking to my sister about this. Blessings. Blessings to you. Well, yeah, and I think it comes off the same. It is based in ultimately like these law of attractions, or law of one, or what have you. It's just that our the system inherently, the way it programs the consciousness field, it's just divisive. And the weirdest thing, and the stuff that we kind of our little ego minds have a hard time grappling with, is like we are choosing it. And it takes, I would say, like it's such a humility process. It's such a humility, I would say, is the best, the way this stuff works on the self, on the human capacity that's been programmed to delusion and materiality and corruption. The way we unravel that is intense and very humbling, because we're one with all of that which we project. We're one with all that which we were like, "Ugh," and they were like, "Ugh," and like continue to come back to the self. Putting our energy into the work that we do, putting the energy into just resting, putting our energy into just noodling, putting our energy into like, maybe working stuff out, and or putting our energy into walking away. Um, all of it, in essence, is simply the individual self choosing in any given moment to feel better. And a lot of it has to do with simply our interpretation of that which we're experiencing. And I tend to focus on the emotional stuff because they're invisible and people don't often want to talk about it. But the more we increase our empathic intuitive ability, the more you can see through it and can see energetic dance a little bit more clearly when it comes to passive and or narcissistic behavior, which simply means we're dealing with a human being that is in denial of how they feel. So so again, and remember, when we think about the workings of the law of attraction, the thoughts are like a gateway and assist to help us create. And yet it is our emotional energetic patterns that are outpouring the creation energy. So you can imagine, if we're in denial, and this is again what I talk about in the book, if we're in denial of the feelings that we're feeling, we perpetuate patterns, and usually they're fairly toxic. Hi, Roots! Yeah, I'm pretty sure I woke up around 3:30 this morning, which was a little earlier than like the last bit. I've been writing for an hour. Yeah. Okay, so maybe this is just like a thing, this waking up really early and having journaling, writing stuff down. It's all very well, useful, fun. I think these early mornings are really kicking off the I'm seeing like, when like things are jumping about and lids are kind of like coming off. Maybe not like popping off or blowing off, but like um this kind of energy. Like things are really like the 5G conversation is starting to finally like pick up in the UK as well. That's going to be a big means of congregating as well. Nice, bubbly. Hi, Jessica. Jessica, that means that you are four, no, 5 hours. So you must be on the West Coast, or maybe we've had the chat before. Hi, Rebel. You're like, well, you're East Coast in Canada or America, North America. I'm debating looking at applying at a little gig in Nicaragua for the holidays. But anyway, that's a sidestep. So it's funny, because I really didn't plan much. Like you guys know, sometimes I like make a few notes for these shares. Sometimes a very like specific talking point or topic point comes through to share and to talk about. Um, and today it didn't, but I probably need a few days to integrate the shift that's been, well, ongoing forever. But the the new energies that we're working with, I must say, I feel maybe there's quite a few of us that are like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? So there's like stability, there's like new ground, there's stability within the new ground and the new way. And there is a lightness charge, but the residue is still really thick. So the uh, plus, so one, those of us in transformational stew, the energies are thick, so it's kind of like still slow going. This whole year has been just the biggest flip on its head. Oh, you think you know, bosh, and then you're like, ah. So like many, many, many human ego have just been totally washed clean, you could say, by the culmination point of this year into next, right? And oh yay, Detroit area, and same with Jess, eh? Amazing. Mm. So we're still like in the thick of this sort of residue energy, i.e., we know consciously and even through the subconscious outworking, we're aware of like our main challenges. We're aware of how manifestation works in an intimate way, i.e., working with manifestation regarding the projection of our physical body and the well-being of our physical body, working on projection and harmonizing situations of the past around maybe business dealings or financial workings or what have you, right? And so it's like every area of our life is having the opportunity for a change, for a shift, and yet we're still sort of like shaking off the shackles of our past self, of our past patterns, of our past projections, not to mention, as we know here, like the ancestral lineage stuff. So the genetic codes that we carry from generations past up to 14 generations. So this is why this is such an evolutionary leap, because it's like wiping this the slate clean, and those of us, for some weird reason, there's a connection point, there's an understanding, i.e., this whole paradigm shift, spiritual awakening on this planet is the only reason we ever came here. That there's some of you that might resonate with the expression of, you're not an earthling, you're not an inherent original dweller of this realm. And so the purpose of coming to this realm was to experience and bear witness. Remember this as well, like as a leader of new paradigm energetic um um transformation, which is the way. It's not like we're all going to be in front of the masses talking about stuff. It's not there's no grandiosity to it. It just is in our beingness as we endeavor to continue to birth our truth, to shine our truth, and to project our truth into the field of this realm. And yet, um, so the masses can just start to integrate the workings of this process, this ascension, this awakening, just because we are that, just because we are living the embodiment, living the experience of it. And then other beings, because we're all unified, other beings will naturally do the download. They talk about this in science anyway. It's like biology and natural and evolution. As is, the death process, I suppose. That's part of a mass exodus. That's part of a war cycle. Is there's still going to be a perpetuation of a death, of a kind of wiping the slate clean in the positive and the negative polarity of that experience. So we're moving through the residue. It feels thick and fog because it feels like we're never going to get free from this past cycle, because it's just been such momentum building to clear and culminate into that, these moments of realization of like, oh my God, I'm actually the one creator. So then we're phase by phase, wave by wave, clearing and or opening up our consciousness to embody that, but then at the same time clearing residue of like, so I'm not just this disgusting, stupid, blah, blah, blah human, right? Right. So it's like we're letting go of all those control structures that we used to be entangled to because we're frightened of our power, and we're reclaiming our power to step into our truth. And yet the cycles and the patterns and the collective rising is what's been much sort of longer for the human ego, for our intellectual capacity to try to understand, contain, hold. We've had to bring ourselves much more into the present to continue the unfolding in clarity. That's all I can kind of feel into with regard to that. For me personally, working with these energies, like all's there is presence, you guys. Like that's, I mean, all of the like positive thinking and da 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 blah 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 blah. Sure, all of it, great. But none of it is applicable if you're not here in the present moment with it. You know, we talk about all our healing modalities. It's like, oh, so many people I've met over the years. It's like, oh, I want to go back to Atlantis, or oh, I want to go. You're like, oh, but you're here now. And again, my thing with a lot of these civilizations that we sometimes again attach ourselves to is that they're not here now. Yeah, you know, like I for some reason I get kind of like emotion, but I think it was quite a traumatic event for a lot of humans still existing here. But like the fall of Atlantis and like the end of Lemuria, and like, you know, there's always hot love vibrashe, hot love compassion for all, just for all, like that's all, right? And yet we're here now, and it's like when you have the potential seed of like birthing a new creative realm, it's like, what shall we do? You know, I don't want to create another Atlantis personally. I don't want to create another Lemuria personally. I just love this earth as it is, and like I want the freedom, and what I desire for myself, I truly believe every other human has the basic should have the basic means to have. So every being should have the freedom to travel. Every being should have access to education, free food, free water, free food, free energy. You know, I'm just like the basic means. Then from there we can go on being epic creators and not slaves, right? Yeah, pretty much, right? Hence this sort of this noodling and this outworking for those of us who are much more empathic or sensitive to feelings, and noticing like those of us having that conversation of like when the classic thing is having a situation close to you, a parent, a sibling, a spouse, and they walk home from work or they walk into the house, and you just feel it. You're like, what's up? How was your day today? Fine, good. You're like, except you're not fine. You're not good. But there again, that's another lesson for those of us that overcompensate, is like there is that other choice of ignore people when they're in the shits. discernment. Discernment here. Because there are times where in the truth of the heart space, people need love and compassion and big huggles, right? There's another thing of going in there with the big old ego arrogance and going, right, honey, we need to sort you out. Your feelings are just too big and too deep. So we need to just nip those in the bud and figure them out for you. Right? Because there again, we come from the egoic approach of something must be wrong. Ego has a very limited perception of what we should be projecting versus the truth of our totality as creators, right? So the feeling, Julie mentioned it, the being here now in the feeling is our gateway into the presence field, into our manifestation of consciousness. so that we're not perpetually just manifesting loops of our past projection that are maybe a little limited, or maybe a little bit less, not as good feeling. And I know that the whole thought creates things concept is sort of not as direct as a lot of us might like, except it's true in as far as like being more conscious of our thought is what helps us to be more present with our feelings, and then helps us to see the connections between the thought and the feelings, and then can help us use thought as a tool to outwork certain feelings, and they work the same. I have a feeling, oh, gets triggered, oh, pay attention, oh, look, ah, a whole bunch of shit thoughts right there. Pay attention, breathe. And then that's in those moments the mind battle where you have to stand it down. You stand down that feeling, that thought of hatred, that venomous thought of toxicity and division, of how could they or so and so traumatized me when I was whatever. It's like, okay, keep going over that story, but look at the shits and then just feel it, breathe through it, and be like, I'm done. Or use the imagination to go to those moments and recreate them. That's like the funnest thing. I'm really working with that. I'm doing some heavy duty inner work at this present moment. Well, actually, that's sort of a lie, because right now in this present moment I'm sharing stuff with you about my inner process. But there's, oh god, this year has, I guess you could say, dropped to the rock bottom, and then there's now the rebuilding and getting into that kind of I guess the rock bottom phase. It does, if you think about of burning everything down and then rising like the phoenix. The rising like the phoenix is a creative thing. It's like, ooh, so what am I gonna, so because I got nothing, right? The phoenix is gone. That phoenix is gone. So now what am I gonna create? I want to be focused, and take my time and be, and it's like, I don't have my own kids, but I imagine with children that children exhibit sort of different tendencies. And I can only imagine as an introverted child. So you guys know I'm like a heavy duty introvert. I would spend hours by myself playing with toys, Barbie dolls usually. But it weren't just like Barbie and Ken. It was like I would turn my fucking whole entire bedroom into like Barbie playland and take her on all of these adventures and da da da. And apparently my mother and like potentially some of her friends would just like peek into my room and watch me, because I would create this whole fantasy land with my Barbies and my gem dolls and my da 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 da. And I think because the introvert is more rare, it was like, okay, Molly, want to go play with other humans? Like, I am, like, because when you're little, there's no, you don't judge. There's no, it's all unconditional when you're little. So as a child, playing in my imagination was the real deal. Me and Barbie were having a real deal good time, right? Because you don't know, in essence, you don't know the difference. But of course, that gets programmed out of us. Some of us might even have impact memory of the first time we were told to shut up and listen, the first time we were told to stop daydreaming. God, I still have that. Like, Molly, space, bring it back, or bring it to the real world. And I'm like, no, 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 no. There is no real world in that black and white way, because everyone's super duper heavily programmed to buy into the projected reality of this world. The new world order, the boundaries and the economy and the seriousness of the 3D reality. That's, we're all bought in. Like, that's the real world. Everything else is just stupid, silly talk. And you're like, but how did this come to be? How did we come to be in this real world? Why can't we ask these bigger questions? And here's the thing, even as a young person, when you work out that they just don't want you to ask the questions, and that no one's asking the questions, and or people are asking the questions, they're just not getting any fucking mainstream airtime. You're like, right, we're gonna have the noodle. We're gonna have the noodle forever. Bridget's, I played with Barbies like that too, right? Right, right. So yeah. That's the thing, I guess the introvert empath is like, we must probably have a lot of similar threads around, like, pardon me, the experiences we had as young people, the way we enjoyed playing with the world. And even I remember I was a kid who, like, cried. I got scared, the heebie-jeebies, and got all frightened when I'd go to some friend's house for sleepovers. And if I had to go into new group settings, I'd always get really like, "I'm scared, like I'm nervous," so my mom knew that that was like a sensitivity, and then she would, because she's an intuit, she like um cared for it, I guess you could say, is the to the best of her ability. I've mentioned this, like she quite openly allowed my sister and I spiritual rest days. So these were the days where she could tell it would happen more to me, but like I basically, just the stress of life and like the energy of a school, I would start to have like manic, kind of like I'd start to get super stressed, and I wasn't ill. There was nothing wrong with me, my physical body, but my mom knew that I was like starting to freak out just because I was tired and stressed and I needed a day to rest. And all these years later, I can see that that's quite cool. That's quite radical. As is being a vegetarian and a vegan. I guess that's just one of the things that maybe some of us resonate with that as well. That one or both of our birth parents were like the hippie, going to protests for Vietnam, and totally invested in like um rooting for men like JFK, and then being totally devastated when he was taken out. Um and as I talk about the 60s, this is something well, it's like in waves, it keeps coming up, but this is, I would say, it. So the energies that were seeded in the 60s are what are being born now. So we can expect to like certain festivals to grow and grow, and certain groupings and constellations, new tribes, new pockets of humanity, which, all the 3D, 4D, 5D, all this shit that we talk about, the truth, in my awareness, in the here now, none of that is actually relevant to how the shift is going to take place and is taking place on the planet. Because regardless of all the talk of multidimensionality, the earthlings that are here to stay are the earthlings. They're just desiring, to be here. Children of the acid eaters. I've never heard of that. It doesn't sound particularly appetizing there, Chris, either. Not gonna lie. It's a flipping it's a flipping coin. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Guildenstern. Sounds like a song lyric or something like that. Hi, Chewbacca. Heather G, Aurora. I'm I'm so easygoing. Sort of, yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Right. Like, and that's, I guess, the point of making jobs for oneself, is like, just do what feels right and show up and do that, and eventually it will provide work for you. And that was something, like, I mentioned this, you guys, I started sharing on here like 2012, but it's taken a while to get to this point of having like a live share and actually enjoying it, and being bold, I guess, bold enough or just courageous enough to show up and be like blah 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 blah. Um because this is the easygoingness is lovely, and it's fun for me as well, but it's interesting to hear again the feedback, resonance, and the perspective of it. uh because like in my reality, like in my experience and personal life, in my reality, people that might not say I'm very laid back, they might actually offer me a compliment like, you're very patient, or maybe you're very calm, maybe easygoing, funny, but this is probably my best outlet, but also because you guys understand what I'm saying. Like I mean, there are plenty of people that if I were to actually talk like this, it would just be like, and in fairness, there's a lot of that anyway. Um, I just think sometimes more and more of the mass of humanity are having like cognitive dissonance as they awaken because it's yeah, because it's so weird and yet more and more of these energies are coming. It's like a big melting pot. The younger generation coming through with this inherent wisdom, and then the older generation be like, "No, but this is the world. This is the world that we created. This is the world. This is the world." And you're like, "Yeah." And then but then the younger ones are like, "Nope, it's over here. I know it makes you frightened, but you're just gonna have to let go of all this." Control and domination. Control and domination. Exactly. Like literally I talk about it in the book as well. It's just a life like this versus like, I don't know, is that does that angelic, lovely, kind, like peaceful, awesome. I thought you were saying shrooms grow in the dark here. I'm like, they grow in the dark everywhere, don't they? Hey, Beacon Hill. That's really close to me, I feel. Beacon Hill. Or no, maybe I'm thinking about something else. Never mind. Beacon Hill, that's like the Midlands, isn't it? I'm pretty sure I went to a festival around that area. Hey on Y, right? Hey, divine sight. Literally, as soon as you popped up and said hey, I was saying hey on Y. Hey on Y is a place um in England. Actually, Hey on Y does a very prestigious, I could say, book festival, reading festival, book festival. It's probably passed already this year. Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Many of my friends are big. They just keep going to the doctor. Yeah, I know that just to each their own. I guess that's why I'm so sensitive to sharing with all this stuff and follow the flow of intuition and whatnot. Is even this morning when I was doing my practice, I was like, yeah, actually doing it is quite radical. Like random emails sometimes that I get from people that find us on the interweb or whatever, and they're like, ah, it's one thing to hear people talk about it. It's even one thing to hear and or have people publish books about it. But like actually living it, like actually endeavoring to do the work every day at every moment. Um, but still, I don't know. I guess you say that, didn't you? Like about being super chilled out about it. That's also my endeavor is like, man, all right, I'll just be a fucking as true to myself as I want to be. Like literally balls out, just like, what do I want to do now? 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 And then I do that, and then I'm like, okay, so this is my life, and then that's my life, you know. And then they just keep going to the doctor, right? I'm like, I'm trying to remember the last time I went to the doctor, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, if not even more than that. I'm trying to think, did I have any emergencies happen while I was traveling? No, I don't think so. I'm not dissing on the doctors either, and I would never even diss on modern medicine because I got to say there have been times in my life where morphine has been legit like the one. If you've ever been in like really bad pain because of an accident or because of an infection or something, and you've been in pain for days, and then and then you're like, also, this is like I'm relating my ear trauma experience when I was in India, and I was like, I'll just heal it naturally. And then like days went on, and then I can remember like by the third or fourth day, like I couldn't even be bothered to go to class or do anything or like engage with human interaction. And there were a couple people that went by my bed where I was just like trying to deal with the pain. And apparently I looked quite gray and like ill. And somebody was like, Molly, I think we should take you to the hospital, sweetie. Like you're really not looking well. Anywho, I went to the hospital, the local hospital in India, in Kerala, and they had to look at my ears, and it was so effing bad that they had 3 or 4 hospital staff hold me down when I was screaming in agony because they had to jam my ears with cotton swabs, but they couldn't because my ears were so inflamed that I couldn't hear nothing, and, this, the hole that your ear is was jammed together because it was so red and inflamed and infected, and they're like, if you'd waited a few more days, you might have burst your eardrum from the inside because the infection was getting worse. So anyway, you can imagine that after 3 or 4 days of just being like, this is back in 2010. So yeah, some fucking angel at the ashram took me, my delirious self, to a hospital. The hospital held me down in the bed as I was screaming to jam these things. Oh, it was both ears, by the way, to jam these things in my ears. And I will never forget the vision of Ben lying on my side and then being like, "Are you allergic to anything?" And I'm like, "No, just give me the drugs." And then she jammed my ass. Ding! And literally within a moment or two, I was just like, oh, and I remember I was squeaky clean teetotal. I was living the yogic lifestyle for 2 months or something in my initial training in Mysore, and then initial training going to Kerala, Nayardam, the Shivananda ashram there. And 6 weeks, whatever in, and then I have the fucking hardcore earache shenanigans happening, and I got the shot of morphine, and then I looked over to the angel who brought me, and I was like, "Do you smoke cigarettes?" And then she did. And this is India vibes, but first of all, there's cockroaches in my bedroom. And then, like I said, we ended up having a fag. And I just remember being high on the morphs and having a cigarette after not having had a cigarette for 2 or 3 months and just being like, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. My ears were not in agony. My body was hella numb. And it wasn't just numb, but I was, and if any of you are actual tobacco smokers, you'll also understand that is also cigarette smoking. It was never ever that good. Those moments are the pinnacle of what a feeling can bring, but it never reaches that, even though you might be like, I wonder if I'll ever feel like that again. No, you need the morphine and the whole situation to actually reclaim that sort of feeling. Yeah. So there you go. I did LSD in Disneyland in 93. Dude, that sounds awesome. Or is it frightening? I'm not sure. It could go either way. That's what it's like for me, mushrooms. I've never done acid LSD, but I've done mushrooms a handful of times. Obviously, I mentioned my conscious experience not long ago, but my small handful of times as a younger person doing mushrooms, it was not really good. It very easily flipped into but there again, I got to say it's because I was an insecure adolescent, confused woman trying to be pretty, trying to be skinny, trying to fit in, and no wonder LSD just made me be like, ha, ha, woo, and yeah, it was the beginning of the beginning of the awakening and the end of my 3D life, basically. Still 40 years. I love you guys. What do you mean, love? What is that? What is that a symbol of? Oh, still 40 years. Fair dues. There again, and that's what self-healing, consciousness, light-filled elixir, all of that. It's use it all, to combat. There was a time where doctors used to prescribe smoking. I mean, and also tobacco is a natural plant. It's just mostly, I would say, it's to do with the entire bioresonance of the field, of the 3D field, the 5G bullshit and the pollution, all the processed food and all the low level vibration, inability to feel and express ourselves, and all these shame and distortion and da 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 da. So literally, it doesn't matter how fucking healthy you are, if you're carrying all that energy, i.e. emotion, it's all gonna fucking kill you real fast. On the flipperoonie of that, if you totally epic love yourself and live on flow with your divine source creative point, anything you do in essence is not really going to harm you in the way the 3D would have you believe. This is another thing, is that all that 3D programming is literally just fearful bullshit. And, because it divides us all. Smoker, meat eater. Oh my god, disgusting. Oh my god, you drink coffee? Like, I remember going to retreat to teach yoga. I was covering a class, and I went in with my coffee, and they're like, "You drink coffee?" Like I was a fucking devil child, and I was just like, "Yeah." Like, I'm not taking the retreat, by the way. Like, I have my own. Listen to me, justifying the illusion of me creating this person who would kick back against me drinking coffee, and I'm like, "Yeah, and." I don't care, basically. I've had my stint of detoxing and purging and cleansing and cleaning and what are those bloody things? Sorry to be intimate and crude and a little rude. Colonic. Have you guys ever had, or no, I don't know if it's a colonic I had or an enema. It's like the weirdest. It basically is a forced like shit. So you put some shit, you and it's the weirdest feeling. I'm talking about your anus, basically. um uh Enema. So you basically, there's this contraption. It's very like hydroponics, basically. um, but you just have this contraption which shoots either coffee or water, I think. Oh look, did someone just say coffee? No. Yeah, you did. Coffee, cigarettes, mashed potatoes. Brah. Oh my god, potato is like my favorite food. Oh my god, and peanut butter. Literally, Rochelle, we're the same person. Oh no, sorry. Actually, you're talking about your mother. Your mother and I are the same person, except I don't probably smoke that like that crazy. Plus, I don't eat the mashed potato because mashed potato normally has dairy and butter, or milk and butter, right? So I mean, I eat potato in many other form, crisps and chips and boiled and baked and shredded, like all of it. But not opposed. Big buzz, I'm guessing from. hmm It's called a coffee enema. I heard about it along my yoga journey, and a friend actually had one of them. Like had a like one of the. It's like a pouch, so you have the liquid, and then it like filters down a pipe, and then you put the pipe up your asshole, and then it drains and it goes in, and then you kind of just have to hold it in, and then eventually you can't hold it anymore, and by the time you open your anus, all the coffee just flushes out with everything in your colon, basically everything in that chute. um and then also I think it's like the coffee or whatever substance you're using to do the enema, the coffee then also helps to clean out the liver or something like that, I think. Hey, yeah, your mom's like me. She makes the mash then. I used to, for a really long time, actually make mashed potato, but just sorry, excuse me, guys. I used to make mashed potatoes with just, yeah, you just boil the potatoes. Oh, I would keep the skin. So just throw the potatoes in, boil them for yonks, wait for them to be soft, and then I'd mash the potato with the skins on, and usually just put loads of salt and pepper on it. And maybe like uh at this stage, maybe I'd do like olive oil, or maybe I'd put like avocado or something. Mhm. Oh yeah, peanut butter on ice cream, crispy. That's like still a go-to snack. Funny that we're talking about peanut butter here, because I'm somebody who kind of who has done in phases of her life, lived off of nuts and peanut butter. And weirdly, I don't know, this last week I've had like almost a like ugh, don't want it. I don't know why. What's happening? Please tell me I'll still love peanut butter as I grow. Lori, I'm just imagining a bunch of assholes smoking cigarettes after their colonic. Oh my god, woman, hilarious. Ooh, yeah, Violet, enema talk, girl. We're right here, right on the forefront. Oh, Lori, what's up with that then? Maybe that's something shifting. It's almost like I've had my fix of peanut butter. And weirdly, butters. I switched it up recently. Instead of getting a butter, I got some kind of carob paste, which is almost like a um carob, Nutella? It's like Nutella. So that would be probably a coconut cocoa base paste. Yeah, almond butter, but I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I'm just off the butters right now. I just the thought of yeah, and the carob paste stuff just feels oh yeah, it's carob and hazelnut. Thanks for the reminder, Divine Sight. And actually the hazelnut is the only one I'm still kind of doing, and the tahini, like sesame seed paste. But aside from that, I don't know. I'm just having to ease off the nuts, I guess. Ooh, I love sunflower seeds. Maybe I'll try sunflower seed butter. And then I think what I'm trying to do is mix it up. So I'm like exploring making my own pastes and sauces. So like even using a bit of coconut yogurt and hummus with a dash of cider vinegar, salt and pepper, and then I'll usually put loads of dill. And you mix it up and it makes this amazing kind of creamy dill dip. Yeah, dark chocolate, pumpkin seed butter, yummy. See, I would try the seed butters for sure because I love sunflower seed, pumpkin seeds. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the recommend. Um, yeah, so peanut butter is starting to kind of exit my peanuts, and then peanut butter are like exiting my desired reality. And I'm just getting like a download about that when it comes to like everything that we do, basically, when we're coming from truth of source versus coming from a dictated polarity, right? Most of us, the reason we have all the conflict is because we're programmed into the rights and the wrongs. But as you'll notice, the right and wrong is an individual fucking program. What's right for me is wrong for that girl down the road. What's right for her is wrong for me, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so we're outworking that. Even something one of you said, like, very subtly triggered this memory of how I used to like if somebody said that's what they do, I would be like, oh no, I'm wrong for doing what I do. So I should try to do what they do because they must be right. Even though they were just like another person. But that's how bad I guess my own unworthiness feelings were, my own not enoughness is like I literally other than things like the vegetarianism, which for me was just always the right thing, like I just always knew that. There were certain structural things that I just felt really connected to, but otherwise, like most of my life as a veggie, it was always like listening to other people. It's just, that's basically why I'm here sharing what I'm sharing is that like you're super duper unique. And the more you just totally love yourself unconditional and accept the uniqueness that you are, and I guess almost like exalt that uniqueness, like proclaim and embody that uniqueness in full, the more heightened your intuitive capacity is. And then the more directed are your choices in harmony with your soul. So then that makes your whole life just get better and better and better, pretty much. and then and then we have to deal with the obstacles or deal with the challenges as and when they're here now, but we can face them here now and we can and that's why this stuff is we I think we think this big hoopla, but actually it's just day to day to day. It's just like kind of relentless because it's like we have to get up and go. It's like in 3D paradigm, you have to get up and go to work every day. Well, in this new way of being, it's just be present with yourself every day and don't live in denial of how you feel. I know, like who would have thunk it like that radical? It's like humanity is taking a quantum leap in evolution by feeling their feelings. Like you're not destroying their home. Imagine that. Holy shit, everything is changing. Oh, cashew nut butter. I'm going up to Lori. Cashew nut butter is it's like almost I want to say like icing. I love cashew butter. It's so tasty. And cashews general. Like cashews are for sure I have a place as well that does cashew nuts. Roasted and salted cashew nuts that literally when I have my first couple bites of the bag, I usually get them like every few days. Um and I they taste like cake. It literally tastes like a kind of like salted caramel cake. It's a cashew nut. But in my mind, I'm like, "Oh god, it's like a creamy cake. It's so good." You know? Interesting. He takes the almond butter, eh? So something shifting around the peanut butter, clearly. But a lot of us grew up on it, right? I grew up on it. Like, literally grew up on peanut butter. I would sit there, watch TV, and eat bowls of peanut butter before my vegetarian days. And like I said, it's not it kind of just hit me, it feels like in the last, like, week. And it's so weird that I'm talking about the peanut butter thing because yesterday when I went to do my shopping, I did this. Like, I actually stood at the peanut butter aisle and, like, looked at a couple of them, and I just stood there and was like, "Why am I not buying the peanut butter? Like, peanut butter is normally a staple part of my diet. Why am I not buying it?" And it's like, maybe you're not gonna be eating the peanut butter for a little bit. Who knows, right? Straight from the jar, pretty much. Still do. But that tree hugger. But let's be honest, especially if and I know it doesn't matter if you are or you are not, but especially for the vegans in the house, I mean, making sure you eat plenty is like a thing. Making sure that your body, your metabolism, and everything is working is a thing. So a handful of nuts, salty nuts, a handful of salty nuts, you guys, will do you just fine. Salty nuts and maybe some fruit, or I quite like just, a piece of bread and chocolate nut sauce. I don't know what I'm saying. I think the share is coming to a close now. My glorious internet besties. I heard most peanuts have a nasty bowl, some with cigs but not stuff. Same with cigs but not so many cigs. A nasty mold. I wonder what that is. Here again, isn't it funny hearing news? It's like let us all remember there's always angles to these, and anything, like this is just me ranting right now, but like literally, and see, there's supposedly mold on the peanuts. Ew, weird, interesting. Is that bad or good, or does it matter? I don't know. Um, hey Susanna, love salty nuts when I have teeth. How do you do that then? Do you have fakers? Do you put the fakers in, and does that help you chew the nuts? The mold is what the allergy thing is about. Well, thanks, guys. I'm learning muchly new today. Flooding in the Midwest. I know everything. Good, bad. Right, right. Yeah. I don't know why that Lori's triggering me. That idea of like, right, in our world, the 3D reality, like everything's either good or bad. You're either right or wrong. There's no like just the beingness, but there is the beingness. We just so easily take someone's beingness, make it into a thing, and then everybody's trying to be the thing rather than exploring their beingness. Like we chase the look of the model rather than the feeling of feeling beautiful and radiant. We chase the amount of money a successful entrepreneur makes rather than the essence of how he works or she works, right? I am me and me I be, and that is all that there can be. And that's the truth. And like the function and divinity of this awakening is that, because once we all be the I am, we then all are in our alignment function. We're in our divinity spot. And then that is where it all begins to unfold. I'm getting a vision of like these light points on the planet, and that they're embedding themselves and or grounding, and then these beams of light start to like boom, boom, rather not a beam as much as like a dome, like a big dome of light that's kind of like sending out these harmonious frequencies. Actually, I have a feeling, just as I share that now, that is we are the energy that's actually harmonizing the potential warfare of the 5G stuff. The 5G can't ultimately touch us unless we totally give it all away. And yet there's a huge trigger point connected to the 5G in England, certainly. I don't know what it's like over there. Business. I love that. I absolutely love Violet Melon. Yeah, we're all sovereign and take care of ourselves and then on to bigger and better things. Right. So, okay, that's so beautiful. 'Cause it brings it back to just me where I'm like, "See, yeah, this is still where I am at in my journey after having an awakening to the system and the paradigm shift, quite a while ago, and I'm still really just there. Like I'm not just. Thank you, by the way. You know who you are if you're watching this. Like not just. I am in that space of still really digging into love the fullness of who I am unconditionally, to accept the fullness of who I am unconditionally in every moment, to not be carrying the residue of my painful, challenging patterns of a past of self-loathing and hatred and denial. So it's like this is an unfolding of love, loving of the self, and then knowing my desire and like trusting and letting go that that desire is held for me and that that is the truth for me and everything else is just fucking lies and I can let go of the lies. um you guys. Oh yeah, business, busyness, busyness, right, business. Well, and I do find that um oh god, I feel like I've got another hour in me to share. I'm gonna make a note of that though. Busyness, just a word play, but very relevant to the world. Um, Beiness, exactly. Busyness. That's a nice topic. Share. There's a lot. Pardon me. There's a lot in the language, you guys. It's gonna keep outworking, and I like the noodle, obviously. Um, it actually ties in a little bit with this share as far as like making money and survival and business busyness. Let's be busy doing stuff, but what are we doing that's actually functional to our well-being? Because there again, we have the 9 to 5 working class corporate enslavement paradigm where everybody's going to a job which they mostly hate, which pays them no money to not be able to survive. And then that company also enslaves and or either enslaves a pocket of humanity and or destroys parts of the planet. No wonder we fucking hate the jobs that we're doing. The jobs that we're doing are totally connected to the siphoning enslavement system. So I know that we're in a bit of a kind of in between a rock and a hard space, but we do have to figure out how to get out of there, by all means necessary, i.e., 27 hours. If you need to cut your arm off, if we need to stop eating peanuts, if we need to start doing coffee enemas, I jest, but it's true. Like honeybees feed the nectar, feed in the nectar of life. Honeybees feed in the nectar of life. Oh, and then that makes me think of like love and like love being the nectar and how the 3D paradigm of chasing money disconnected from the love heart vibrashe. And that's why like the honeybees are dying because the sweet nectar of life is literally being like, like siphoned by like um, our unconscious, siphoned from our own shadow, siphoned from our giving power to a fucking machine which has no respect for life or love. So we must awaken our own love, hot vabush, to then reclaim the nectar, as in the beauty of life, the beauty in the consciousness, not the fear and the money. Like, who cares about any of that? Because it's all here. It's all in the skin. It's not in the stuff. It's like It's like our ability to just love here, because oh my geez, that's really all we want. All the all the oh, I watched this really weird thing on like Facetune. So like I use filter from time to time, but then there's like next level, not just the filter, but like body shape. So basically it was the fact of like, and weirdly, like my intuition could see through the veil of like these women who, these are Instagram models who basically like put photos but totally make their bodies kind of look like like whoa, like proper Barbie dolls or whatever. And but then they were showing pictures of like these women on the same day in the same outfit, but looking really rather different. And then I just was like, oh my god. And for me, that was never, I never cared about that. Like, as in for me, that was just not enough. I'm like, no, I have to genuinely feel it. Like, I don't even care what I look like in a picture. If I feel ick, I feel ick. So the filters and stuff, I don't buy that, because like my reality is like I want to feel that the truth. Putting a filter on, I know, is a lie. So what's the point? You know, it's not real. And plus, it triggers and toys with people. So we do it less and less. I'm still a selfie girl though, and I do it really unashamedly when it comes to like either in boredom or a little bit low, and then you just make a selfie and be like, what? Hey, gorgeous girl, what are you doing? As in, the whole selfie culture, weirdly, as a polarity, has actually helped me do the self love stuff. Has helped me be like, no, you're lovely, stop being a douche. As in, stop being so hard on yourself, stop comparing yourself to other people and just love who you are, right? Yeah, right. Right. How I feel about makeup, just couldn't get into it. And I have a good friend like that as well. Um, and I ebb and flow with it. Sometimes I'm really not, and I can feel weirdly with this peanut butter thing, I can feel myself coming away from the maquillage. And do you know why as well? It's a really weird polarity, but it's just because in the last couple days, how weird is this? In the last couple days that I'm doing my like routine and meditating and getting my coffee and then getting ready in front of the camera, I I get to this point where I've put my like whatever, the concealer stuff. So I put my concealer on and like I'll stop and just be like, I feel like that's enough. But then I was still going through the motions with the lips and the eyes, and then sort of just feeling like, uh, see, and I feel like this is really egotistical to say, but like, and then it makes me want to cry that it's egotistical to say, but I was like, it's because I liked how I looked then. Without the makeup on. It was that I liked that I looked, and I was like, "Oh, I could just stop. I could just not fulfill the full routine. And maybe I will one day. I don't know. I do what I want." Enjoy and appreciate every foot or mile from here to horizon of the moon. Stay experience without needing to count the inches. Oh my god, right? Right? Like just that expression, tree hugger, like it just lifts the pressure. Just relieves. It takes, here's another flip as well, like, I've, things that I used to kick back against because this year has been such a challenge, everything has flipped around, where yesterday I was having a conversation with a part of the system that I would probably talk shit about, but because of everything that's happened, I was randomly like, "Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be giving you all my money." Woo. Not all my money. I'm so excited to be able to be in a position to give you lots of money. And so be it. Do you guys like my new sweater? This is another eBay purchase. I'm kind of digging on it. I'm really into like the neutral colors right now. Let's just turn All to Love TV into a fashion and beauty channel so that MJ can talk about her fashion sense. Yeah, but it's a nice, I dig on it. It's really cool. Like somebody must have made it like this, I reckon, because there's like, it's almost like stretchy in the back, but it makes it fold real nice. Oh, I just looked up at Lori's comment, buzzing around, pollinating and loving the flowers, like legit. And I really res with that, as far as I'm like, don't we all just want to buzz around? Like, what's over there? What's over here? Oh, how are you guys doing? Like, it's all light in my heart, love, but it's like, I forget that there's like the polarity of the shadow stuff that's still being at worked on this planet. I'm just happy that we all found each other and we all make sweet love on old love TV every day. Oh, right, tree hugger. I fully feel you there, my friend. Same, same, same. But I was realizing, like, over these last 6, 7 years, I've essentially created a job for myself just by sticking to doing this. Like, I want to talk about this. I think this is relevant. I think this is a unique perspective. Bosh, 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 bosh. And then, like, slowly but surely, these last probably like year or so, slowly but surely, internet people provide the love hot vibrage for MJ to not be financially, linked in to that, as it were, or working for people that I don't res with, regardless of what industry they're in. Oh, yeah, and that's also what gives me this weird perspective of, like, popping out the other side of a lot of spiritual communities that have really great Instagram accounts, but then behind the scenes are proper douchebags to each other, and you're like like like, you were just talking about fucking positivity on your Instagram account, and now you're yelling at your fucking staff. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, yeah. Hmm, hmm. This is my money, 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 money dance. Isn't it fun, that polarity as well? It's like, show me the money. It's because it's actually love. Show me the love. We just call money love from now on, you guys, and be like, guys, show me the love. Hot love, fabrish. So now that it's been an hour and I have sung and laughed and damn near cried for all y'all, I think I'm gonna go. Ooh, levitation. Bridget's 5 tarot. I have much to learn. Patience. Learn you must. We all have much to learn. I hope that one day we all have like a school or just like a cool center to kind of levitate to hang out at. And that's going to be like, you could say, like the crystalline rainbow starseed school. And in the school, we all like practice that teleportation, telepathy, clairvoyance. We practice the invisible superhero techniques, right? So yeah. I know, divine sight. This is like the next level as well around manifestation is what ah, in Abraham Hicks teachings, she talks about closing the gap, and that is an expression that I'm like, oh my god, it's so true. Except there again, in our quick fix system, we want to close the gap in like a day or 1 second, and that's cool too. But for most of us, because we're pretty ingrained in those patterns, I've noticed, man, shit, yeah, it's taken a while to close the gap, or from there to there, or from there to there. And for me, it was just working into this space of like actually truly realizing like my truth is the truth of other, and that's the best way. And like same as far as, what did you say? You said like full on gratitude, new client fell in love. I'm like, and this is another thing of like the people that I work with at this point, like I fucking love them. There's no weirdness, there's no awkwardness, there's just pure love heart vibration. And then that's what, all the annoying coachy people, and they're like, attract your soulmate clients. I'm like, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, but you do. It's just not like there's no formula other than you just got to be your true self, as frightening as that might seem and be. And like we're told you can't, you're not allowed to be yourself. You're not allowed to swear. You're not allowed to blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, but what if? And then you do. And then literally your world changes and everything reflects back love. And work is better than you ever imagined. You're making more money than you ever imagined. Your clients are like your besties, and then your besties are your clients, and then you just go surf. And I was literally just thinking and fart and burp and brain fart with each other. It's just what we do. And yeah, Rochelle, I don't know why this is popping into my mind. You do need to get a passport, my friend. I would love that. Love that. It has begun. Hogwarts vortex into your life's perspective. Mwah! I love you guys. I'm so looking forward to like hanging out on the beach. Oh, so I've started to get a few bookings for Morocco, you guys, and the initial bookings are quite similar, as in the 599 early bird price is shared accommodation, but all accommodation, transport in Morocco, food and surfing and yoga sessions with me, those are all included. Extras are things like cocktails, massages, blah blah, extra excursions. But weirdly, the first booking is from quite far, actually, if I remember correctly. And there's three people that have inquired about the installments. So I just want to let you guys know, yeah, you can break it up, okay? So it's all included. The only thing extra is you getting flights to Morocco and extras in Morocco, like extra snacks and stuff, and then um outside specific transport times or travel times. Oh yeah, and then you can just pay in installments, so that's all good, right? Ah! Jessica T, how funny is that, right? Well, and this is another aspect of the acceleration manifestation. It's yesterday I was thinking about somebody because I intuitively wanted to connect this person, but this is a person that I literally have met him in person or crossed his path like once or twice. And um and then just somehow another surge, it's actually to do with the 5G stuff, and like a surge of energy came through, and then this random guy popped into my head, and then I just bumped into him on the street and was like, yep, I need to talk to you, my friend. I wouldn't have known how to, actually I could have done, but I'm not on Facebook, and I'm being stubborn about staying off Facebook as well. So there. Divine sight, it's true, isn't it? Really anchored in our heart space and then just share from intuition. That's often what people need. It's so effortless that I think it boggles the mind, like the hence the closing the gap of, am I really worthy? Is this really too good to be true? Like, am I actually allowed to just be myself and make money and be free and blah 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 blah? Yep, that's actually true. It's just the groundedness of the reality that we need to be is, I don't know. I don't even know how to relate to like the other way anymore in a sense. I'm just like, yeah, because to me, this is the way. Right? Oh, I love you, Rochelle and Haley. And Hailing too. And Haley too. I have a song in my head. Oh, something, something, moonlight. Well, you guys, that's been an hour chat with you. I hope you've enjoyed. I thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you this morning. Yes, I'd encourage all y'all to get y'all self a passport and join me in Morocco. It would be an exceptionally fun time. Morocco's mega chill. And hashish, I can't handle Facebook energy lately. Me neither. Me neither. It's for real. It's been 2 months and I'm so happy to be off that. Yeah. Yeah, so Morocco is October 8th to 12th. You're welcome to join me for an extended stay outside of the actual retreat stuff. And you can pay in installments and reach out if you want to come along. I would love to have you. Ultimately, though, these morning sessions for me are really fun. And I love having this resonance and I love this community. And I really, really love you and appreciate you and honor the divinity that you are. Divine sight. That we all have divine sight ultimately. So namaste, my friends. I love that tree hugger once every couple years. That's pretty much what I want to get to. Just once every couple years. Right. I love you guys. Big huggles. Love, heart, vibrashe, virtual hugs, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Peace out.